Thank you for joining us for today's webinar, How to Go from Paper to Barcode Scanner to Tablet with Mobile App. My name is Jay Corey. I'm the Senior Events Manager here at Deltek. Before we begin, I'd like to cover a few administrative items. The presentation will take about 30 to 40 minutes. Please remember to fill out the short survey at the end of the webinar. All registered attendees will receive an on-demand recording of today's webinar within 24 hours. If you have any technical issues, please use the help icon at the bottom of the console for more information. Joining me today is Stan Schock, Vice President of Sales at RFgen-Software. Welcome, Stan.
Good morning, Jay. Thank you. And hello, everyone. Again, my name is Stan Schock. Thank you for your interest in RFgen. And as Jay said, today's topic is how to go from paper to barcode scanner to tablet with mobile apps. In today's agenda, we're going to, first of all, take a look at the challenges people face as they run their manufacturing and distribution centers with a paper-based inventory management process. We'll talk about the advantages of automation. We'll talk about the RFgen mobile foundations for Deltek Costpoint. We'll look at how to go mobile and achieve 24/7 operations. We'll cover RFgen software, who we are, how our products work with the Costpoint solutions. And then we'll go through a couple of success stories with Costpoint users. And then we'll recap the session. So first thing we'll do is take a look at some of the challenges that companies running paper-based inventory management systems are facing. As we do that and we talk in today's session, you're going to see an evolution of how people have handled their inventory processes from the most common route of paper, where it all started, which is more error-prone and inefficient. You see a lot of people still running these systems because the unavailability of products that can run within their ERP system. Again, it's very common. It's a error-prone method, and still very prevalent out in the market. Moving forward with the next evolution, we see that people started putting in real-time accessible data, having real-time access back to their ERP system. And by scanning, we eliminate a lot of the human error of writing items down and then having to key that information in at a later time. It also speeds up the process considerably. From barcoding inside the four walls or inside the distribution center or manufacturing facility, we see the need has grown now to outside the four walls and really more into a true mobile environment where I have people that are field workers that need access to the data in the ERP and need to be able to update and validate information into the ERP system. And finally, we have all moved in this world into voice, where people can actually wear voice technology devices and be guided through the process of whether it's picking jobs or whatever their functionality is. They'll actually be guided and talking through RFgen back to the ERP system. Again, this is even faster than the data collection, your RF scanner guns, and much more accurate and easier to train people. So we've gone from paper to barcoding to mobile outside the four walls and voice as far as the evolution of the systems. We see a lot of people still running in the Costpoint environment paper-based systems. According to studies by Intermec Honeywell, up to 27% of distribution centers still use paper-based or manual systems. So there's still a good number of companies, as I said before, that people are writing information down. If I'm receiving materials, I'm on the receiving dock, I'm writing information down on paper. I may later on take that information and key that into the ERP system, or I may hand that over to someone else that keys that information into the ERP system. But again, it's a slow process and prone to errors. What that really equates to, according to the Intermec studies, is that there are about 3,000 hours that are lost at the average distribution center annually. And about 89% of the managers out there really understand that they can improve their operations and improve worker productivity by automating. But again, they've been limited by not having real-time access back to their ERP system. And this is where Deltek Costpoint and RFgen have teamed up. When we look at the advantages of automation, we first of all need to look at what are the challenges, what are the things we're really trying to solve for those people that are running paper-based systems. Typically, it's one of these 8 items that I've got listed up here. I've got a growing business. I'm under margin pressures to do more with less. I'm seeing more government regulations coming down all the time that require certain reporting. I want to drive more value from my IT system. I need the traceability of being able to recall products at any time. I'm striving to get more accuracy because I'm having difficulty shipping things on time, or I'm carrying more inventory than I really need to. I want to have the scalability. I want to be able to grow my business without having to add more people. And of course, customer service. Usually these 8 items are what drives the need for mobility, and usually we see more than one item on people's list as far as things that they're trying to resolve. So again, when we look at the advantages of a warehouse, of automation, we look at what goes on into the warehouse. We see in a paper-based system, the error-prone systems, and when I've moved to the automated side, I'm eliminating those errors because what I'm actually allowing people to do is in a real-time environment, validate and update what goes on in the ERP system. There's no ability to misread something. What I'm scanning, what I'm doing is actually is real-time, and the errors are basically eliminated because of the scanning capability. I have the ability to work in different type of environments. I can work inside of a facility, as I mentioned, a DC or a manufacturing facility. In that environment, I'm going to have access points. I'm going to have a Wi-Fi capability that's going to allow me anytime, any place in the operations to have connectivity back to the ERP system. But as I mentioned, we have people who need to work outside, so we have the ability also to provide on-demand or batch-type environment for them to work outside of the 4 walls and still have the ability to update automatically and accurately the ERP system. And we see this more in environments where we have field service workers or people doing asset control or those type operations. What RFgen really does is to connect to a wide range of systems. We're really we're automating the warehouse through primarily items such as inventory management, receiving, picking, packing, shipping, manufacturing, quality assurance, and time and attendance. I can do more than this, but these are the primary things that people are looking at controlling in their mobile wireless data collection app. So how do I go to 24/7 operations in different environments? There are three different environments I've touched on lightly. One is the top that you see here, the real-time environment, where I'm going to have workers inside a facility, and as I mentioned, they'll have access points. They'll have real-time accessibility back to the ERP system. The second one is more of a high availability environment where I've got remote locations and I may not have good enough communications to have those people up all the time, or it could be that I'm going to have some planned downtime because of maintenance on the ERP system or just because of the difference in time zones. And in that environment, what I really want to be able to do is have those remote workers be able to continue to operate and have it transparent to them whether or not the ERP system is up and running or not. So in their environment, they're going to continue to process against a local server that has a set of data for them, and that data will be updated locally. And then once the connectivity back to the main ERP system is again made, whether that's again planned or just accidental downtime, all that data that's happened in the local environment will be validated and updated into the Costpoint environment. And the third, the bottom one, is offline mobility, which is growing very much in popularity. As I mentioned, field service workers and people who need to work outside the four walls. And in that environment, what we're really doing is we're taking those transactions that people would run inside the four walls. We're putting just a little bit more functionality into the handheld device, whatever that handheld device is, so that when they're outside, away from access points, they can collect that data. But then when they get back to a point where they can sync up to a Wi-Fi system, they make that connection, and the data is again validated and updated in real time and accurately back to the ERP system. As I mentioned, this offline or the ability to run outside in batch environment is growing in importance, especially as more technology comes out and people are using all kinds of devices, whether it's an Apple or an iPad or an Android, whatever. They want to be able to collect data. And so really we see about 75% of organizations that say there is a need out there for them to be able to collect the data in an accurate manner and to get it back to the ERP system. Again, the limitation has been, how do I get it back to the ERP system in an easy manner, that's something that doesn't cause the organization great pain in integrating it back to the ERP system or the Costpoint system. And again, by storing a little bit of information onto the handheld device, what we do is we give that mobile device worker the opportunity to collect a little data and that then can be updated back into the ERP system later. We call this a MEAP, or a Mobile Enterprise Application Platform. That allows me to run in either a batch environment, as I've mentioned, where I'm collecting the data and then later updating, or in some cases we see people running cellular, where they're actually using a more robust device and have real-time connectivity outside the four walls as if they were inside the four walls. And it's really a functionality of more of the device I'm using. And again, the type of operations you'll see people performing in offline or on-demand activities are around things like vendor-managed inventory, product returns, drop ship, proof of delivery, field service, or batch environment where I have inventory that's outside the four walls in yards or freezers, etc., somewhere where I don't have access points. Take a moment and tell you a little bit about RFgen. We've been in business since 1983. We've been really dedicated to the data collection space for over 20 years. It's really all we do. We are validated against the Costpoint 7.01 and below. Our products have been around, as I said, and we've implemented our solutions in 2,800 different sites worldwide. We do an awful lot of work through our RFgen partner network. So we have about 140 partners worldwide, and I think we're actually in 38 countries right now. We're a total solution provider, so our systems, when we work with Costpoint users, we are actually selling the software, the services, and the hardware if need be. Hardware devices may vary depending on the type of environment people have. I may need to read a barcode from 40 feet away, or I may need to be in an environment where I'm in 30-degree environment, 30-degree below zero environment. So we work with companies to really understand their environment and fit a total solution for them with hardware, software, and services. We also work with a number of other ERP systems I'll talk about a little bit more later, but other than Deltek, we work with SAP and Oracle as an example. So we have a number of solutions, and this becomes important for companies that have multiple ERP systems, and for some of the larger companies, you see this is becoming quite a bit of a trend to have multiple ERP systems. What we actually do is, first of all, we have our, as I mentioned, the different ERP systems I've listed up here. We have Deltek Costpoint, SAP Business One, the Oracle E-Business Suite, JD Edwards, Microsoft Dynamics, Web Services, Screen Mapping, and Database Connectivity. The reason this is important is because most companies need access to third-party systems of some kind. I'm running my data against my ERP system, but there might be data that's in another third-party type system. It could be a database, it could be another ERP system, or it could be something from a sister company. but we have connectivity back to all of those devices and solutions for all of those devices. What we focus on, our supply chain accelerators, as we say, are the asset management, barcode labeling, field service, inventory management, warehouse automation, shop floor data collection, and voice picking. And the industries that we serve are cross-industry. We're not limited to any industry. In fact, I'll show you a slide in just a moment where you'll see that we're not only cross-industry, we're cross-vertical, and we're in very large companies and in some quite small companies as well. Again, here's the slide I was talking about. You'll notice that you'll see some people up here, like BAE as an example, that is a customer of ours for Deltek Costpoint, but they also run us for JD Edwards, and they run us in a general connectivity for a older ERP system that they have that isn't supported by anyone, but does have connectivity, real-time connectivity, back to that ERP system the same way they do with the JD Edwards and the Costpoint system. When we talk about the RFgen mobile foundations for Deltek Costpoint, we're really talking about a mobile development platform that is very, very tightly integrated back to Deltek Costpoint. We have written out-of-the-box transactions, and I'll cover some of those in just a moment, but basically we've written some pre-existing transactions around receiving and those type of operations to help automate those that work out of the box. But we have a architecture that allows me to take and make very quick changes, very rapid changes. I can make them, my partner can make them, or we have customers that do their own. We have probably about half of our customers that go through a couple-day training class, and they want to be able to control their own environment. So if they receive a little differently than someone else receives, or they want to be able to do something that they haven't done before, they can make those changes themselves. And we support multiple data capture environments, and I'll talk again about that in just a moment. But that's when we talk about the mobile foundations for Costpoint. We're talking about a complete product that provides those solutions. This is a visual of how we talk to Costpoint through the devices. So on the right-hand side, you see different types of devices. It could be a forklift mount. It could be a ruggedized handheld device. It could be an Android or an iPad. It could be any kind of, or a headset that for voice. It doesn't matter. We talk to all those devices. All those devices talk to the RFgen server that you see sitting in between the devices and Costpoint. So as I'm a worker performing my job, I'm receiving, I'm shipping, I'm working in a manufacturing environment, I'm touching information back, sending back information back to Costpoint, I'm actually going through the RFgen server. And RFgen, in return, talks to Costpoint. And we're using the business logic that Costpoint wants us to. We're using Costpoint web services environment. And the information is, again, validated and updated in a real-time environment. There's no footprint on Costpoint. There's no reason to get in and have to modify Costpoint. Everything comes through RFgen, and the response time from the device through RFgen back to Costpoint is instantaneous. There's no lag time. There's no synchronization. It's a real-time environment. I mentioned the ability to any device, and so really we're talking about any type of operating system. I've listed in the middle, or excuse me, on the left-hand side. And the different devices that we can use are, again, scanners, smartphones, tablets, and even back machine to machines. We also connect back to scales and carousels and robotics and many, many more things. So really we've extended the Costpoint functionality back to any of those devices so that people can perform their jobs quicker and more accurately. When I look at a Costpoint user, and what I've got here is a Costpoint screen up, and I think about someone performing a job, and the job again could be receiving. If I'm receiving my materials, I may again, depending on my workflow of a different one company may be different from another, but I may actually pull up a screen and I may put some information in the first field. I may wind up skipping a couple of fields and putting some additional information in, and then going to another screen and putting some information in. What we do with RFgen is we present only that information that that worker needs to see, and we're displaying that on the handheld device, as you see on the right-hand side. We're displaying only the information that person needs to see and in the order they need to see it. So they're not going from screen to screen. They're actually just scanning something. They may be scanning something and it's validating back to Costpoint, saying, yes, you're in the right location. Yes, there's 7 items there. You're telling it you're going to pick 3. It says that's good, and everything is completed. So the operation is, again, done very quickly and immediate. All of this is, again, validated, updated against the ERP system in a real-time environment. I mentioned the pre-built Costpoint applications that are already built, and this is a listing of them. They're around inventory management, PO processing, and manufacturing. These are items that are already pre-built. They run right out of the box, and what I mean by that is we can install RFgen in a matter of 15, 20 minutes and literally be running against someone's environment. The transactions, therefore, work against validated Costpoint solutions. The difference is, as I mentioned, we have the ability to take, or our partners can, again, our customers can, take and modify some of these transactions. Usually we see about an 80-20 rule. It's about 80% of what we do fits exactly the way people want it to in their environment. But it could be a little bit different. Again, if I'm receiving for one item, I may receive that item and put it directly into inventory, as an example. If I've picked up, and now I'm doing something different in my manufacturing facility, I'm using a new material. When I receive that material, I want the system to automatically recognize the fact that when I receive this material, I want to go out to a third-party system and pull some information. Based on the data I get from that information, I'm going to make a decision as to whether this inventory should go to manufacturing inventory or if it should go to a quality location. These are things that can be modified very easily to fit, again, anyone's type environment. So the pre-built transactions get me going very quickly. If it doesn't meet my flow exactly, I can change that flow through a partner, through RFgen, or, as I said, in many cases, the partner or the company will actually make those changes themselves. And we have a number of people that are just building brand new applications that are unique to their environment only, and that's a possibility as well. RFgen comes in 2 different, we're delivered in 2 different environments. One is the typical on-premise where a company will purchase RFgen, install RFgen at their location, and run it at their location, contacting us when they need support or contacting us when they want to get the upgrades or whatever. The second environment is more of a SaaS environment, which says I'm going to implement RFgen at my location, not in a cloud environment. It's an on-premise SaaS. I want to get around all of the privacy and security concerns that I might have as a Costpoint user. But I don't want to have to purchase the software. I only want to actually buy the rights to use the software on a annual basis. This allows people to make easy, quick decisions and get around having to make the capital expenditure, and pretty attractive offering for those users that are maybe smaller and don't want to go through, again, the capital expenditure exercise. Talk for a moment about a couple of companies that are using us now in conjunction with their Costpoint environments and the successes they've seen. CyberCore Technology is a Deltek Costpoint 7.0 user. They're in the high technology industry. They use us for inventory management and receiving. They sped up their operations where they actually were able to go 4.5 times faster using the same, less employees, they were able to go 4.5 times faster. They moved their accuracy, again, accuracy from writing things down to using an automated system went to 99.99% accuracy. And what that really always means when you talk about the accuracy of inventory, it really comes back to dollar savings. I'm either taking too long to find a product, or I'm shipping the wrong product, or I have more inventory than I need. Usually the accuracy equates back to tremendous dollars depending on the average inventory that a company will have on hand. And they improved the inventory process so they could get much more information, much more accurate information. I mentioned BAE as a customer already. This is the BAE Aero and Defense. This is the company that, this is the organization within BAE that actually does maintenance on naval ships. I think they use this in 8 different locations, and all 8 locations, when they're working on obviously on a large ship like this, it isn't inside the 4 walls. So these are all transactions, all operations that are going outside. They're working outside. They need the ability to have inventory out at the ship. They use that inventory up, but when they get back, they're using, again, very expensive parts, high labor. They want to have the accuracy to be able to get that information back into Costpoint and have it accurate and real-time and quick. So they're using us more in a batch-type environment. And then another one, Institute, which is in the, again, running Costpoint 701. They're the unmanned aircraft operations, and they, again, were looking to improve inventories and get more accurate information around the inventories. So in recap, when you're running a manual system, you're running an error-prone system. It's going to slow operations down, and again, that equates back to dollars. When you move from and possibly to customer satisfaction. When you move from paper to an automated system, you'll increase your productivity and significant gains in accuracy. In looking at any kind of solution that is out there, you'll see that there may be solutions that have been built that fall short in some areas, and the one area you don't want to fall short in is how it communicates to your Costpoint system. You want something that is validated, something that's real-time, something that has the upgrade path, so that if I'm going from one version of Costpoint to another, it's a matter of just reloading RFgen and testing the data, not a matter of having to go through a tremendous amount of services work or looking for another product. And the real-time validation back to Costpoint is extremely significant because you've made a large investment there. You've got a great product, and you want something that's going to work with it, be an extension of it, not a separate entity out there on its own. I mentioned we're a total solution provider, and I want to cover that just one more time because it is important. When you buy software, you want software that again has pre-built transactions that's validated against your ERP system. You want the ability to be able to run in both a in-house, inside the 4 walls, as well as outside the 4 walls, because you want a product, as I said, as a mobile enterprise application platform that can grow with the company and change as the company changes. You also want to be able to utilize different hardware devices because as your needs change, your environment's going to change. You may want to have in future operations, you may want to have something outside the 4 walls. You may decide to extend the efficiency of data collection into an environment that requires some type of a device where I'm using forklift mounts again. So you want someone that understands the environments, understands the issues, and is representative of that product so that that product has been validated against the RFgen solution or any other solution. As RFgen, as a total solution provider, we have ERP integration experts. We have people that really understand the mobility environment as well as the supply chain environment. So we have many experts in this field. As I said, we've been doing this for quite a number of years. And on the support side, we are a 24/7 support company. We have offices in Europe as well as Singapore and the U.S., so we do follow the sun from a support standpoint. And we have ongoing training for users as well as the high-end user who wants to be able to modify RFgen. If you want to know more about us, you can contact us. We'd love to have a conversation with you. We can be reached at the number here, or you can email us at sales@rfgen.com. You can go back through your Deltek representative, and they'll get you in contact with the right person. If you visit us at www.rfgen.com, you'll see a lot of information out there. There's a number of white papers and case studies that I'm sure we'll have one that'll be fairly close to your industry that's someone who's had similar issues, similar problems they were trying to resolve. So again, I appreciate very much your time today. I thank you for attending this session. And Jay, I will turn things back over to you.
Great. Thanks, Dan. This concludes today's webinar. We'd like to remind you to fill out the short survey you'll receive after the webinar ends. Thank you for joining us today, and please visit www.deltek.com/events for more upcoming Deltek events.